Weekly Sales Supercharge. If you're joining in real time, happy Monday. And whenever you're joining, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you've been watching this for any amount of time, you will see this is a very different vibe than what you're used to. Ned Liggins in the house. Welcome, my friend. Good to see you. This is a brand new office space. I literally just leased it last week. It is, and I'll share with you, today's live stream is not this topic. Today's live stream is about why I take Tuesdays off, and basically how you can create more time freedom in your life too. But I'll share this here briefly at the beginning of the live because I talked about this in my newsletter this past week, where part of my vision is really starting to open up She Sells offices throughout the world, and having different She Sells consultants who are running those offices throughout the world, which I'm super excited about. And if you're interested in that and me keeping you in the loop with how that opportunity progresses this year, send me a DM and I'm happy to keep you in the loop. By the way, welcome if you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. Pop me a comment. Let me know. I see there are people watching, but the only way I can see you're here is if you tell me you're here. So let me know in the comments that you're here. But last week, I just really got this download that was like, go get in a physical office space now. Because so much of what we teach in terms of creating quantum leaps and in terms of stepping into the next level version of yourself is about embodiment. And there was, if you all saw my live stream last week, and you may have heard me laughing about when I work from home, like I'm dressed up every day, I'm ready for camera, ready for this, but I typically didn't wear shoes because there wasn't really a need to, and it wasn't very comfortable. And I was like, that is not fully embodying the person who has this office and has this company with these global offices that we're creating. And so anyway, all of that to say, hey, Christina, how are you? All of that to say, I'm in this new space this week, and I know this vibe is not, it's not the She Sells vibe that you're probably used to, but hi, Camilla. Oh, it's so good to see you. But you all will see me transform this space over the next few weeks. And the whole point of that, and it kind of ties in with the theme of today about why I take Tuesdays off and how you can create more time freedom in your life, is that we get to make our own rules in our lives. And so for me, deciding to move into this space, and we're moving in a few months, it's like, does it make sense? I don't know. It was a strong urge and I'm following it. And we're going to see what comes from it. But we really do have to make our own rules. And I want to tie that in with this conversation today about why I take Tuesdays off. And here's what I want to know in the comments from those of you who are here live. Did you get into sales or entrepreneurship because you desired more freedom in your life? Like, tell me in the comments. When I think about why I got first into sales and then into entrepreneurship, it was very much about freedom, right? Time freedom, financial freedom. But I found myself in my late 20s, like almost in kind of like I'd created my own prison. I don't know if any of you can relate to that. Camilla's saying yes. Jen, hello. Jackie, hello. We're talking today about why I take Tuesdays off and how you can create more time freedom in your life. So I found myself almost like having created my own prison and making, decent money, although the most I could ever figure out how to make was around 6 figures. But not making any more. Thank you so much for the hearts. And I found myself working all the time, like all the time. And my paradigm at the time was, if I want better results, if I want to make more money, I've just got to put in more time. And how much of that is what's taught, right? In our society, in our sales culture, in our business culture, it's like, just hustle more, work longer hours, work harder. And so I would literally, like, let me know if you can relate to this in the comments. I would get up at 2:00 in the morning, 2 a.m. a lot of days. I would be staying in the office super late working. I had terrible health habits, terrible eating habits, and I was really anxious all the time because that was the only way I knew of to create more sales and create better results. So let me know, like, can you relate to this in the comments, or give me a heart if you can relate to this? And here's what I know. I I don't know if you've read, there's a beautiful book by Bronnie Ware, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. But she talks about, like, literally no one on their deathbed looks back and says, my number one regret is that I didn't spend more time at the office. No one did. And I know Jackie's saying I can relate. Camilla's saying yes. Jen is saying, yep. Yeah. Like, I know the irony of recording this from this new office space, right? And part of the vision of this space is actually creating a more concentrated, focused space to come in and work so that I can be out more with my son and can be out more with my family. But nobody looks back on their life and says, I wish I spent more time at the office. They just don't. And so this is really about, the concept of today is, it's about taking a stand for the and. One of my mentors would always say, take a stand for the and. And when I decided that I was going to build a 7-figure plus company and operate around the world and serve clients around the world, it was also non-negotiable for me that I created a company and a business where I got to spend what at the time seemed like very luxurious amounts of time with my family as well. And that was really a non-negotiable, that all the money in the world doesn't matter if you're, stuck in the office 24/7, if you feel like you're having to, like, grind yourself to the bone to make more money, right? And if you're not spending time along the way on what matters to you. And so I decided a couple of really key things. Elizabeth, I was actually thinking about you this morning. It's so good to see you. So I decided a few key things when I launched She Sells. One was that I was going to take one day a week off during the weekday to spend time with my son and to be a mom. And I typically do that on Tuesdays. Tomorrow, and there's some flexibility in that. Like, tomorrow, I've got a private client coming into town. We're going to work together, but I'm taking Wednesday off. And this was a shout out to my friend AJ over at Brand Builders Group. This is really inspired by her. She's a 7-figure CEO and mom. And I was like, if she can do it, I can do that too. And then it's fun to record this today too, because literally just today on Monday mornings, I started adding in that I take my son to music class on Monday mornings before I come into the office and work. And so I decided that was a non-negotiable. And I remember there was a bit of, like, can I really can I run a 7-figure plus company while taking a day off per week to be with my child? And let me know in the comments, like, would that be a limiting belief of yours? Or maybe you're already doing something like this, which is great. I want to know that in the comments too. But there was definitely a limiting belief around that. But the second half of that decision that made all of this possible, because I know the power of the mind and I study the power of the mind and the power of belief systems, is I decided too that I make the most money when I'm spending time with my family. Like, I literally decided that I make the most money when I'm spending time with my family. And I know on the front end, that doesn't make logical sense, right? I borrowed that belief from another mentor of mine, a multi-million-dollar CEO. And she was like, this is my belief system. And this is how we've grown, because I literally believe that I generate the most clients when I'm having fun, when I'm with my family, when I'm doing things I love. And I was like, if it works for her, let me just try it. Let me just try it and see. And sure enough, because that's become a belief system of mine, that's how it works. Like, clients come in, opportunities come in, things come in when I'm spending time with family, because it's a belief system. So remember, our physical world will always just mirror our beliefs. Now, here's the thing too, I want to say with this, this is going to sound almost like, oh, that's obnoxious or whatever, but it is what it is. It takes discipline to take a day off during the week. I don't know about you, but for me, my comfort zone is working. Like, that for so long was my safety. And that's still to this day, like, my body typically feels safest when I am working. And it's something I have to work on in myself because there's still some of those limiting beliefs that show up every time I go to take a day. It's not really taking a day off, it's just taking a day focused on another priority of my life, which is being a mom. Let me just check comments. Karen is saying, Karen on LinkedIn, OMG, gigs get confirmed when I'm taking time off all of the time. I love that, right? So it takes discipline to get ourselves to feel safe enough to do this. And let me know if you can relate to that in the comments, because it's not what we're taught. It's not the cultural conditioning, right? But if you, when you practice it and when you really work on the belief system of, I generate the most clients when, like Karen, I'm taking time off, or when we had Marie Claire, a 7-figure skincare CEO, on the podcast months ago. And she said, it is a requirement. My husband requires me that I take a vacation every few months and go sit by the pool and drink Mai Tais, because that's when I make the most money. Because she literally is so relaxed. Her vibration is so high. She is so chill. New ideas come through, clients come through, opportunities come through. So you can go check out that episode of She Sells Radio with Marie Claire if you want to listen to that. But it's just so powerful. But it does take discipline, especially if your comfort zone is like mine and you're like, I feel so much safer when I'm at work, right? Now, here's the thing too with all of this, and I'm going to give you a couple tips in just a moment on how to create more time freedom in your life, whether it's taking Tuesdays off for you or whether it's doing something else. But it really is about making your own rules. This whole thing, success in doing this, is about making your own rules. It's not about being lazy. And when I look at this community, I don't think any of you are lazy. I don't think any of you are sitting there on the couch, like eating a bag of chips and not working. I think you're probably more like me, where you've got to discipline yourself to stop. And give me a heart, or let me know if you can relate to that, where working is more of the safety and the comfort zone for you. So it takes a little more discipline to stop. So it's not about being lazy. It's about being intentional. It's about being intentional and about making your own rules and thinking for yourself in terms of how you're going to make money and how you're going to structure your days and your life as well, to make your work fit your life, not the other way around. Karen is saying overworking does no good for the creative process, right? Amen to that. And we're all like, what I love about that is my beliefs. I think we're all creatives, right? If you're an entrepreneur, if you're in sales, like you are creating your own business, reality, et cetera. That's beautiful. Christina is saying that's true for me. Yeah. And so what I want to talk about here are 3 ways that you can create more time freedom in your life. Whether you're like, oh my gosh, like if I could take Tuesdays off too, that would be phenomenal. And maybe you have kids, maybe you don't, maybe you want to take a day off. I've got a private coaching client who, she doesn't have kids yet, but we just worked on her schedule and worked out a way for her to take Wednesdays off every week, because she needs that for her rejuvenation and for her mind. And so it doesn't matter. It's not necessarily about taking time with your kids. It's about like doing what fills your cup and making sure that your priorities, like that, you can create your own structure to your day and to your week to align with your priorities. So 3 things that I want you to do or start thinking about doing to create more time freedom in your life. The first is you've got to get so intentional about only doing what moves the needle. So what I would do is, number 1, you got to always know what's priority right now. So I always know, what are my annual goals? Based on that, what are my quarterly goals? What are my monthly goals? And what are my weekly goals? Those are at the top of the calendar. And anything that does not align with those is an automatic no. And you have to start thinking this way. If you want to get really like intentional and fierce about creating more time freedom in your life, anything else is a no. And what I would do is I would just look at this past week. Like you can look at last week or you can do it for this week, but look at what's everything you did. And then out of everything you did, what was actually moving the needle for you versus what's something that you think you should be doing because it's what someone else said. What's something that maybe you used to do that helped you achieve your past, like the last financial milestone you hit. But guess what? what got you here won't get you there. So we've got to reevaluate and reimagine everything at every level to look at what needs to be dropped, what needs to be released, what does somebody else need to do. That's something I'm doing all the time, is looking at what am I doing today that frankly, maybe I just got in a loop of like, I just do this every week, but there's somebody on my team who could do it. Or or it just doesn't even need to be done because it's not a good use of time. So that's the first thing. The second is to always evaluate, is this worth it for me? So when you're investing your time, and I don't like to use the word spending time, but when you're investing your time doing something, looking at, is this worth it for me? Like, is this truly worth it? I personally, and everyone, some coaches are priced less than me. Some coaches are priced higher than me. I don't take on private clients for less than 6 figures anymore, because to me, it is not, and it's not that I don't love everyone. It's not that I don't love every client. It's not that whether you're a client of mine now or not, I don't love spending time with you here. But for me, for the amount of emotional investment and the time that goes into my private clients, it's not worth less than 6 figures. And so that was a key decision I had to make. I have a multimillionaire mentor who said everything that comes across her desk, she evaluates as, if this is going to take time away from my kids, is it going to make me $1 million or more? Now, when you hear that number, that may sound big to you or that may sound small to you. The number's irrelevant, but it's about starting to look at what is actually worth my time? Like, what is worthy of my life? Everything you do, you're trading your life for. So what's worthy of that? And what's worth it for you for that? And then the third thing to do to start creating more time freedom, and we're not going to get really into this today, but I want you, if you haven't started studying it yet, start studying neuroscience, start studying the power of your belief system, start studying quantum physics, learning time is kind of like our linear conception of time is really kind of made up. There's a lot you can do to bend time and space when you learn how to create a different belief system, especially around time. One of my favorite affirmations is, I live in no time and I create everything. So we've got to create a different conception of time and productivity. And here's what I'll say is that if you feel like you've got to just work harder, if it feels like you've got to effort more and like hustle more and grind more to get to where you want to go, you can get there, but it's going to take you a long time and it's going to take you a lot of work and effort. And so that's why when I started studying more of these principles of how do we leverage energy and how do we leverage quantum physics and neuroscience to create higher level results, my results skyrocketed and it was in less time. So all of these things are little things you can do that will truly bend time and space. And one quick thing I'll say, so if anyone has questions on this, pop them in the comments, because those are my talking points for you on this. But if you're in sales and you're listening to this, maybe you don't have quite as much. It's not that I would never say I don't have as much time freedom, because whatever you say to be true, whatever words you speak over your life, it will be true. So I would confirm for yourself and affirm for yourself, I have all the time in the world for what matters to me. Like always, always, always. People try to come to me and say, I know you're busy. I'm like, I'm not, because I don't tell myself that story anymore, because that's not an empowering story. I have all the time in the world for what matters to me. So if you're in sales and maybe you don't 100% set your own schedule, maybe you're not in sales, maybe you're in another industry and you're watching this, but you can still take something from this to apply it to your life, to your day, to help you create more time freedom in your life. And maybe for you, that next leap is taking a full day off every week. And I will say, I mean, we've done that and we've continued to grow. Like my team knows Tuesdays for me, I'm not here. Like I'm not unless the sky is falling. I'm with my son. And guess what? Things continue to grow. And it takes some discipline. It takes some mental reworking around how we do things and how we operate. But those days are the sweetest days. And again, like I said, whether you have kids or not, like we don't get them back. So it's about making your own rules and looking at how am I going to structure my calendar and make time work for me rather than vice versa. So, my friend, two things moving forward from here that I'd love to do to help support you. And again, if you have questions on this, pop them in the comments. One is if you haven't grabbed our free guide on 5 sales scripts to increase your closing rate by 50% or more, you can grab it at elisearcher.com/scripts, elisearcher.com/scripts. One of my clients texted me the other day. She said, Elise, I read it, like I watched the training video. I implemented something right away on my next sales call. And in one day, I made $31,000 off of implementing this little thing. And I was like, yes, that is what we're going for with this guide. So you can grab that. Also, we're going to be hosting a live upcoming coaching intensive in the next couple of weeks, which is going to be phenomenal. Send me a DM if you want to get an invite for that. If you'd like to have some live coaching on your sales, your business processes, your mindset, I am here for you. Let me just take a moment and check comments. Karen on LinkedIn is saying, I heart quantum physics and neuroscience. It changes everything, doesn't it? It literally changes the game when we learn a higher level way of creating. So that's it, my friend, today. If you came in later, go back and watch. I talked about why I take Tuesdays off, how I do it, and still, run and grow our company powerfully. And you can apply, here's what I will say is you can apply these principles regardless of what your income goal is, regardless of what your goal is for this year, to create more time freedom in your life and to prioritize what really matters for you and really take that stand for the and. So wishing you all, thank you so much for the hearts, wishing you all a beautiful day. Keep watching because you're going to see this office space transform soon, which will be so much fun. We're going to create a really cool, actually, podcast setup recording in here soon, which I'm excited for. So wishing you a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. And I will see you next week for our next live stream. Bye for now.